price reductions, big opportunities, active inventory, supply, demand, ADUs, development, housing affordability or lack thereof. All these things we're going to discuss and more here with this Phoenix housing market update here with YouTube Live, everything Phoenix style. You know how we do it, guys. We are your news media source of choice, hopefully. We give it to you straight, just the data, the analytics, nothing more, nothing less. You're going to get exactly what you came for, which is the truth. And that's hard to get now today with any media that you subscribe to. So we're going to give you just the unfiltered raw data of where we currently stand and what is going on with the housing market. Are there opportunities? Is there a chink in the armor? Is it weakening and softening? What's going on, guys? I'm glad you asked. And you came to the right source. It's Monday afternoon, so that means it's time for our YouTube Live. So we're going to check it out, and we're going to dive right in, guys, as always. So let's get started with what's going on in the housing market and what to expect for this summer as we move forward. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump in here, guys, and we're going to start off with active listing counts. Okay, now you can see the by the blue graph here. You don't have to be very intelligent, no offense, right? Because you know what, sometimes I'm not either, but you don't have to be very intelligent to know where the active listing inventory is going, and it's going up. It's going up right now. You can see by this blue graph that is the case. And now we have 16,126 properties on the market that are available for sale in the Phoenix area. Now, it has long been told, or said, I should say, that a balanced market in the Phoenix area is about 20 to 25,000 homes active on the market, or I should say properties, not necessarily just homes, but properties active on the market throughout the entire Maricopa County area, which is huge, right? That encompasses all the Phoenix area, just for those of you who are wondering, except for a tiny portion in the Southeast Valley known as Santan Valley, that area down there. Okay, that all being said, this is a healthy inventory count. You would think that at this point, there's buyers that are going to say, hey, you know what? At some point, this is going up high enough. I'm going to probably jump in. And some are. There's still people buying homes. Don't get me wrong, but some are not. And primarily, what's the reason? You guessed it, interest rates. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Let's go back here and share my screen and jump back into this active inventory. So you know where we stand with that. Inventory is going up. But if you notice this blue graph, it's not skyrocketing. There's no sharp 45-degree angle here. It's going up, but it's not skyrocketing. And so where is demand in this whole picture? Well, before we go there, let's talk about price reductions. All right, now there's the graph going back all the way to April 12th of 2020, okay, or April 2020. This is COVID, okay? Since then, what has happened? Now you can see the chinks in the armor, the softening of the market as we get into here. It peaked here October 9th of 2nd of 2022 with 4,427 price cuts of all the active inventory that was on the market. Now, we all know what happened in the second half of 2022. It was not a great market. There was about a 14 to 17% decline of appreciation, depending on who you ask in this scenario. And so the prices were falling. Could this happen again? Well, we'll see here, because there's a difference, guys, between list price and sell price, okay? But you look here, and you can see that it got really small here because the market got pretty good heading into 2023. People decided they wanted to buy in Phoenix no matter that rates were in the high sixes to low sevens. But they've stayed there, and they stayed there for quite some time. So now what is the situation? Well, we look back here. Where do we stand today? There is 2,285 price reductions in the marketplace today. Now, that math equates to about 14% to 15% of all the active inventory that is having price reductions. So that's a decent amount. That's not a overly huge amount, as you can tell by what happened in 2022, but that's a good amount of price reductions occurring in the marketplace. Why? Because the demand is softening. The demand is softening. And you can see here by the Crawford Market Index, if you go by cities, you can see what is happening. There's more red on this chart than there has been for quite some time, right? Because city by city, city specific, I should say, it is starting to decrease in terms of the overall CMI, the Crawford Market Index, which measures supply and demand. And guys, this measures it on a daily basis. So this is up to date. You're not getting lagging data from a month ago or even 2 weeks ago. This is happening in almost real time. And so this is awesome data to be able to look when it comes to the Phoenix housing market specifically. All right. Now, if you look at this right here, you'll see the decline. Now, Fountain Hills, for whatever reason, is up. 14% week over week here on the Crawford Market Index. Interesting, because Fountain Hills is more of a community that is a second home, retiree community, and one that doesn't do as well traditionally in the season. So I bet you that's going to change when we get into July here. But Fountain Hills is doing well, Tempe's doing well, but a lot of red on the board here. That's because the demand is softening. Now, if you go back here to the price reductions form, you saw the price reductions right here, that graph. Well, let's look at this. This is sell to list price ratio. All right, now currently you can see by this jagged line graph that right now we're at 97.3. So if you're going to price your house at $100,000, I hope I just woke somebody up if you weren't paying attention, because nothing is pretty much available for $100,000 anywhere remotely close in the Phoenix area. However, let's do math that's maybe a little more easier or more realistic. If your house or whatever was on the market for $1 million, then you could, on average, anticipate it for selling for $973,000, as that would be the delta between what homes are on average selling for today compared to what they're asking for on the market. Now, that does not take into consideration the original list price. So what you're seeing right now is homeowners trying to play the game here of figuring out the price changes, and they might have to reduce their price based on where they first started. Now, once they get to that price where the market decides, hey, we're in the ballpark here, then what you're seeing is home buyers still negotiating off of that and landing on a number that's 97.3% on average below what their current list price is. And that's what 97.3% comes from. So the expectations of the buyer should be, hey, you have the ability to negotiate right now. And the expectation of the seller should be that, yeah, we have to negotiate as well off of our asking price once we hit a price that the market determines is in the ballpark of market value. Okay? Because that does fluctuate across the different spectrum of prices. All right. Now, going back to my screen here, guys, this is good stuff. Wow, we're getting in the weeds here on data today. Now, here's a contract ratio. We talked about contract ratio last week on our Everything Live, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time, but I want to show you this graph, okay? Because this gives you a good, just high-level representation as to where the cool areas are in terms of housing prices going up or down, and the warm places. Right now, there's not a lot of hot or super hot places, and this is going to refresh here, which is good. But you have some places that are, fairly hot to warm. Now, the blue is cold, as it should be, right? The warm is green, and the hot is this orangish light orange color, yellow color, right? And you can see a couple hot places. So the zip code of 85259 currently is doing really well. There are 70 active listings, and 49 are under contract, okay? Then you have 85254, this other magic zip code in Scottsdale, Arizona. Then you have a couple in Tempe and Chandler, right? The zip code of 85224 and 85284 in Tempe. Everything else is going to be outside of a couple of historic districts, downtown Phoenix. These are good here, right? There's only 9 active listings and 11 under contract. This is getting eaten up. This is downtown Phoenix, and the historic district zip codes here of 85012 and downtown of 85003. Okay, those numbers are a little skewed, I think, because there's such little inventory in general. But you look at other places across the valley here, and you can see that a lot of them are warm and some are cold. There's not a lot of hotter, frenzy, and insanity going on. And guys, let me tell you, just several months ago, well, especially a couple of years ago, it was like frenzy and insanity colors all over the place, right? All over the map. And that's not the case right now. So you can see that if you're a buyer, there is a big opportunity to negotiate and get the house you may want to get with great terms. Now, does this mean prices are coming down right now? Not necessarily quite yet. Will they? I think they will at some point here as we head into the summer. And then we'll see what happens as we head into the third quarter. And that could be interesting because you have some political things going on, right, with the third quarter, elections, et cetera, happening towards the end of the fourth quarter and things of that nature. So we'll see what happens. Inflation, CPI reports, that all plays a role. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you asked about that because I have a article from Mortgage News Daily teed up right here. What about the jobs report that came out, I believe, last Friday? Basically, who cares? Bring on the CPI and the Fed. Now, they're finding that the jobs report is not as good as they thought it would be, which can obviously help out rates coming down. But you can see right here that they're all about the CPI and the Fed, which both report this week. both report this week. So it's a big week coming up here to see what may happen with interest rates that are still stuck right here, as you can see in this map, at 7.17%. They are hovering in 7 percentile, and they're probably not going to come down anytime soon as long as the same economic news continues to be more of the same. That's right, guys. So look at this article here. It talks about the CPI and the Fed reporting this week, and that everyone's kind of hinging on where the Fed is going to go with this. Now, right now, the market supposedly, read an article on, I believe it was Forbes, the market is kind of pricing into the stock market, et cetera, pricing into a rate cut of 1.5 times happening before the end of the year. So again, remember, if you go back a few months ago, the Fed said, we're going to reduce rates 3 times this year. Well, that 3 has come down to 2, and then it actually went down to 1 for a short period of time. And now the smart money, if you will, is on the Fed reducing prices 1.5 times, or rates 1.5 times by the end of this year. Now, is it possible to have 1.5? I don't think so, but they're betting on 1.5 because they're not sure if it's going to be 2 or 1 at this point. But either way, it's not great in terms of seeing where the market's going for interest rates and affordability on the monthly payment aspect for many, many buyers. Okay, now if I go back to my screen here, let me show you this, and let's go to this graph here. This is month supply, okay? Now you see we got the contract ratio down. Here we go, month supply. Where do we stand here, guys? You would think the month supply is skyrocketing. It's not. It's not skyrocketing. It is going up. You can see right here, it was at 2.3 in April, and has worked its way up to 2.4 months supply. Now, what this means, guys, is that if all the homes that were on the market right now, the 16,000 homes, all sold, it would take 2.4 months to sell all of them. The 16,000 plus homes on the market, 2.4 months. That's not that many months. You would think we'd be at 5, or 4 months supply at least, but we're not. So it's not dire, that's for sure. But man, there's a lot of price reductions happening, guys. Now let's go back to the price reductions form. The graph. I want to show you one more thing. How much is the average price reduction currently that is occurring in the Phoenix market? Well, I'm glad you asked. We'll go to the median because median is the best way to measure as opposed to average, which can be skewed based upon the luxury home market. But if you look here, you can see that right here, $10,000, and it's pretty even across the board, guys. It's the median. And so you had a little bump here. You had some big bumps here, down to $15,000, $14,000 on the median price reduction amount. But right now you're seeing $10,000 across the board being the median price change amount on a listing before it goes finally under contract. So that's interesting, guys. And so it's not huge amounts being reduced, but it is a good amount of money when you talk about the median price point being around like $460,000 right now, $450,000 actually right now in Maricopa County. So $10,000 is the reduction, and then 97.3% is what is happening. So another, what's that? 2.7% occurring off the current asking price after a median price reduction of $10,000 occurs based on whatever price point you're currently at. So this is interesting. Now, maybe next week we'll dive more into those segments of pricing, but let's go to this real quick because a lot of people are asking Kelly, hey, those foreclosures, man, they must be really racking up or starting to rack up in Phoenix, right? It's a big market. And you know what? They are increasing a little bit, but not that much. You can see right here, trustee deeds by the month. This was April. There were 21 that were sold to a third party, i.e. investor, let's say, and 18 that reverted back to the beneficiary. So 21 plus 18 is a total of what? That is 21 plus 18, put them on spot. That's 41, 39. Okay. Jeez, math is bad on the fly. So 39 total in all of Maricopa County in the month of May. And then you got here, April, look at May, 3 total in 3. So guys, there's not a lot of trustee sales happening. You go back to 2014, look what we had here. We had well over 600, right? So we had 213 sold to a third party, and we had 417 reverted back to the beneficiary. So there's not a lot of activity happening on the foreclosure market. Remember, Arizona is a non-judicial trustee, deed of trust state. So we don't have technically foreclosures. We have notice of trustee sales that occur, which basically then is universally known as a foreclosure. But that's a technicality for you to know in the state of Arizona. So it's not increasing, guys. Now, what else I want to share with you? I'm going to share with you again this commentary from June 10th. The median sales price, Crawford report goes on to say, is very little affected by the luxury market because luxury homes sell in relatively small numbers. However, these high-end properties have a significant effect on average sales price and average sales price per square foot because they are so large in some cases, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. However, the median tends to ignore all the extremes at the top and the bottom. That is why it is so popular with analysts who are dealing with real estate numbers that tend to have questionable quality. Okay. If we examine median sales price for small segments in the market, then we can see that the high end has been behaving very differently from low end and mid ranges, which is true. We talk about that on this show. Okay. To do this more accurately, we really want to use all recorded transactions, not just the ones that were closed through MLS. So we turn to the Cromford Market Chart EM11 and use those filters, okay? What's the bottom line of this, Kelly? The bottom line is that the numbers on the Cromford report are very accurate when it comes to knowing the trend of the marketplace using median home price numbers and not just using the multiple listing service for its data, because that data can be compromised sometimes when you have agents that put in information that's not accurate because they just mess it up. That is a thing that happens. So they go back and they actually scrub all that data to try to make sure they correct any of that data that comes in initially inaccurately. Okay. So that is good stuff. And then we talked about the different areas. And then let me show you a couple things here, guys. The affidavits of value. This is interesting because it shows trend. Here we go. There were 7,858 closed transactions, down 5% in May of 2023. There were 1,500 new closed home sales, down 12%. There were 6,200 closed resale transactions, down 3%. So again, down 5, down 12, and down 3 from the month prior. The year over year, the May of 2023. So guys, overall, transaction counts are down, okay, a little bit. Now, closing counts look good when compared with last month, but are down compared to a year ago. And so that's the biggest thing, guys. So right now, where the market stands year over year is not great, and rates were the same. I think the buyers are starting to get a little more fatigued with these high rates. When are they going to come down? And that's what everybody wants to know. Okay. So guys, this all being said, where does the opportunity lie? You know what? Right now, if you're going to sit in the sidelines, I can't blame you, especially if you have a rate that's below 3% or below 4% even, right? It's a little challenging to make that trade right now for moving up or moving down in a home purchase. However, if you're going to rent, in my opinion, obviously you're paying 100% interest when you rent. So paying 7 point whatever percent interest might be a better situation, or it may not be based upon your exit strategy. That's what I think it's all about, and that's what a lot of people miss, okay? Now, I'm going to shift here to development because I think it's kind of important. And what's interesting in Phoenix is this topic of ADUs, all right? Excessive dwelling units or accessory dwelling units, okay? And this will help solve the problem of potentially lack of inventory, okay? That's the whole point. So we're going to share my screen. I'm going to go over here to the Phoenix Business Journal, and here we go. Accessory dwelling units are set to expand in Arizona. Here's what to expect. Did you know that the governor signed in May, just a month ago, signed into law that cities will have to allow, if you have a population of more than 75,000 people in your city, homeowners to build accessory dwelling units to be built on any lot where a single-family dwelling is allowed. This is interesting, okay? And one company, Minimal Living Concepts, has been building ADUs since 2021. They have like a formula, a done ready for you template, if you will, to be able to put a ADU, otherwise known as a casita or a guest house, on your lot in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, where are those cities in Arizona that have a population over 75,000 people? I'm glad you asked. Here they are. Okay, check it out. Here they are, guys. You have Phoenix, Tucson. Okay, you have Mesa, Chandler, Gilbert, Glendale, Scottsdale, Peoria, Tempe, Surprise, Goodyear, Buckeye, Santan Valley, Yuma, Avondale, and Flagstaff and Queen Creek. Now, in Maricopa and some of these other cities, you may have to get special approval, or obviously, you have to get approval regardless with the zoning, but it cannot be held up on this notion alone based upon the governor's new law. So now you have the ability, guys, if you live in one of these cities, to put an ADU on your lot, and it cannot be withheld by the city based upon the fact that of a zoning ordinance, okay? Now, there could be some other intricacies of this law. Here's an article that came out in May right here. This is HB 2720 to expand access to backyard casitas or accessory dwelling units across Arizona in an effort to provide more affordable housing options. Now, this is interesting. Why? Well, first of all, let me go over here. This is a company that standardized the ADU. Now, this is very nice, right? You get the pool. It doesn't come with a pool, guys, but they got the pool and nice landscaping. And then here's this nice modern looking ADU, which can be used for a lot of different things, maybe a home office, whatever it may be, guys. But they have it done or down to a science done for you. So this is a company we don't endorse or anything of that nature. We're just letting you know this is one that does it. There are probably others as well in the Phoenix area. That gives you a nice rendering, a visual, what it may look like in your backyard. So that's kind of cool, right? What's it cost? Well, it's going to range dramatically based upon how big you go and what your use is and your accessibility to your backyard, all this fun stuff, right? But the point is that they deliver nearly 90 units already that are being used, and few of them are being used as short-term rentals because that's the big fear, right? That's going to be used as Airbnbs, etc. And the reality is that a majority of their clients, they say, are building one-bedroom, one-bath units in their backyard to house their aging parents, their adult children, or friends and family members with physical or intellectual challenges. Others are using their units for expanded living space instead of buying a new home with today's high interest rates. There it is. And some are renting out their guest houses to long-term tenants, which provides a passive income stream. Okay. The benefit includes better quality of life for the entire family, increased property values, and the addition of affordable housing. Okay. This is just loosening the restrictions of ADUs. Now, this is very common in California, but Arizona now is following suit for this. So what do you think about this? What do you think, guys? Let me know your comments. Comment below. Comment on the show right now if you have an opinion on this. And what do you think about ADUs being allowed now on people's lots if they have the room on their lot to just have an extra guest house or casita back there if they want it? And how about a done-for-you solution like this Minimal Living Concepts company does? Interesting. I find it very interesting. I think this is going to be very, very popular, honestly, given the fact that we live in a sunshine state, we live in a retirement community, and one in which a lot of retirees want to come to. But if they cannot afford, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example, guys. My father right now, I don't think he can afford a house in this Phoenix living in the Phoenix area. And the reality is he's not coming here anytime real soon. But if some things change where he's currently at, and maybe he wants to come down here at some point in the future, there's not the funds there to be able to really buy anything. So, but what if he could have a guest house in, say, my backyard because we have the room? That's interesting. And it can be done in a manner in which it's more cost effective as opposed to having to go buy, condo in the area where we live, that sort of thing. Or maybe a single family house. It's just kind of out of the realm because of the affordability issue. So this will work out well in that example. And I think this is the point of doing this. So it's interesting to see what happens. What's up, Jason? What's up, gangster? Hope all is well, man. That's a big compliment coming from you. So thank you, Jason. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for watching as well. And if you have any comments though on this ADU thing, let me know. But this could be big for helping solve the housing inventory going on in our marketplace. Now, let's go back to share my screen and let's rock and roll with a few more things. Speaking of affordability, growing number of seven-figure cities have typical home values above $1 million. Yeah. Well, where are they? I can give you a hint. There's a lot of them, and they're in states that you probably would think, California and New York. Arizona has a couple, right? But Jupiter Island is one of those for sure, right? It's where like half the PGA Tour lives, right? The golfers, live golfers, whatever it may be. But the typical home value on Jupiter Island reached $9.98 million in February 2024, beating out exclusive neighborhoods of Golden Beach, Florida, Hunts Point, Washington, and Atherton, California. But where are they? Well, here's a list. Arizona, Paradise Valley, Carefree, Fort McDowell, Cave Creek. Now, one of the reasons you don't see Scottsdale on there is because Scottsdale has a big subset of property. A lot of condos, which are more affordable, $400,000, $500,000, and a lot of tract homes too, to go along with the big estates. So some of these towns like Carefree is a smaller city with just big properties. And so you have those home values in the area. Same with Paradise Valley. Okay. But you can see as I scroll down here, guys, California has a ton. Look at that. California, a ton of $1 million cities. And this list goes on and on and on and on. I mean, I'm still scrolling. I'm still in California. This is unbelievable, right? And then Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, and then Massachusetts, Maryland, and it goes on and on, right? New York, of course, right? So anyways, just because to show you that we have a lot of affordability issues, and this goes along with the ADU legislature that was just passed, I was telling you about. So thought I'd throw that in there. Now, along with that, how do people afford to live in these high-paying or high cities with high million-dollar homes? Well, you got to have a good job, right? Or at least a high-paying job. Doesn't necessarily have to be good, I guess. And here you go. Some Arizona companies gain, others drop on latest Fortune 500 list. So where are those companies in Arizona that are on the Fortune 500 list? Okay, well, here we go. You got number 157, Avnet. All right, that is the top one on the Fortune 500 list in Arizona. Then you have Freeport McMoran. And then you have, what's the next one? Republic Services Incorporated. You had another one here too, I believe. Let's see here. Reliance Incorporated. Here we go. Tempe-based Carvana. Chandler-based Insight. You have Microchip Technology, another Chandler tech company. Go figure. Then you have On Semiconductor Corporation, On Semi, and Taylor Morrison Home Corporation, as well as Phoenix-based Knight Swift Transportation Holdings Incorporated. The top 5 companies on the national list were Walmart, Amazon, Apple, United Health Group, and Berkshire Hathaway. But some other notable mentioned companies for Arizona are Phoenix-based Sprouts Farmers Market, grocery chain store, Tempe-based Amcor Technologies, Scottsdale-based Residio Technologies, and Meritage Homes and Carlisle Companies, just rounding out just a little bit over the top 500 for the Fortune list, guys. But again, Avnet, Freeport McMoran, and Reliance Steel and Aluminum Company are the top 3 in the Fortune 500 list in the state of Arizona. But we have 5 that made the list, which is great. Okay, moving on. The employees and the workforce behind these companies and awesome companies as we continue to grow that company base in Arizona. How are we going to do that? How are we going to educate them? Well, ASU and U of A are in the top 20% of the world, not U.S., the world. Educational institutions, the yearly ranking shows. Where do they land? Here you go. ASU, number 200, and U of A, 293 in the world. But here's what's interesting, guys. On the national scale, what I thought was pretty cool is nationally, ASU ranked number 38. That's pretty high. U of A ranked number 49, placing the schools in the top 20% and 25% respectively. And check this out. This year's ranking places the 2 biggest Arizona public schools higher than private institutions such as Georgetown University and Notre Dame. Interesting, right? So kudos to ASU and U of A for ranking high in those rankings. Good job, guys. Now, moving on here, a few more articles to cover, and we are done because I can't wait for this one, guys. In Central Scottsdale, the Hard Rock Reverb Hotel eyes a 2026 opening for the Reverb. And there it comes, guys. There's going to be a Hard Rock party in Central Scottsdale. So it's coming, guys. More entertainment in Scottsdale like we don't already have enough. But this is coming, guys. It's going to be awesome. And there's a picture of it, and you can see what's going on here. It's going to be an 11-story hotel, I believe, right? Yep. They already have a Reverb in Atlanta, and it's going to be awesome, guys. So looking forward to that in 2026, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. It's a 5-story hotel, not a 11-story hotel. But anyways, that looks higher than 5 stories to me, but we'll see. That's the picture. Looks cool. It's rendering. I guess it could change. But here you go, guys. Speaking of which, more entertainment here. Check this out, guys. Indoor golf simulator club and lounge to open in Chandler. I mean, they can think of one more indoor entertainment concept. I don't know what it's going to be next because they think of them all. It's unbelievable, right? But they're going to have a business based upon going to hit golf balls indoor into a simulator. And honestly, it's probably going to do really well, right? Go get some food, some drinks. This is down in Chandler. It will have 6 state-of-the-art golf simulator bays with 28 by 18-foot practice putting green and a high-top bar serving elevated puff fare and wide selection of handcraft cocktails and other beverages. It's going to be awesome. And the golf simulating technology is actually Golf Zone, which is a South Korean-based company. Interesting. So a new technology coming to the golf simulator space, right? Pretty cool. So check that out down in Chandler. And by the way, if you want to know what the most challenging Phoenix area golf courses are, here's the top 3. Desert Mountain Renegade Golf Course, Silverleaf Country Club, which is awesome, and Greyhawk Talent Course, top 3 on the list in Arizona. All right. And rounding out just a couple more articles here, guys. I know we talked about this before, but we're going to be really short on this. But rarefied air, Sky Harbor is exploding, guys. The passenger count is huge, and a lot of people that are coming to Sky Harbor are now no longer leaving. They are staying in Phoenix because of what Phoenix is bringing to the table on a national scale or even a global scale. Guys, Air France is super pleased with 97% of all of their new nonstop traffic to Paris flights. 97% capacity on all their flights. That is huge. And so now we have a new nonstop to Frankfurt, Germany from Sky Harbor. And of course, we have the British Airways flight to London nonstop. Okay. And then a couple of development projects, guys. We have a new glass tower going vertical, just broke ground in downtown Phoenix, which is a 26-story luxury apartment tower, and other projects going on by the TSMC factory up there with this project and so on and so forth. It's pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. And that's going to round out our discussion here today, being right on time with Everything Phoenix, guys. So again, thank you so much for just joining us. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for your time and carving out about a half hour every single week for joining us here on Everything Phoenix, the live edition. And I appreciate all you guys who are going to comment after this video. Let me know what you think about the ADUs and all the housing market stuff. What's going on with these price reductions? Are we crashing, or are we just kind of having a little slowdown? Let us know in the comments below. And until next week, as always, Phoenix, keep it classy. Thanks, guys.